Once upon a time, in the ancient lands of Sumer, Akkad, Assyria, and Babylon, there existed a group of deities known as the Anunnaki. These divine beings held a special place in the hearts of the people, for they were believed to be the descendants of Ren, the god of the heavens, and Ki, the goddess of the earth. In the earliest Sumerian writings, dating back to the post-Akkadian period, the Anunnaki were revered as deities in the celestial pantheon. Their primary purpose was to decree the fates of humanity, a responsibility bestowed upon them by their divine lineage. It's important to note that the Anunnaki should not be confused with the Apkallu, as each had their distinct identity. The very name Anunnaki is derived from En, the Sumerian god of the sky. The term is variously written as Denuna, Denuna Keforni, or Denunna, all of which signify princely offspring, or offspring of An. According to ancient beliefs, the Anunnaki were considered the children of An and his consort, the earth goddess Ki, who was often identified with the Sumerian mother goddess Ninkursag. At the helm of the Anunnaki pantheon stood Enlil, the eldest among them and the god of air. The Sumerians believed that before Enlil's birth, heaven and earth were inseparable. Enlil, with his mighty power, split the two realms, carrying away the earth, while his father En took charge of the sky. The worship and iconography of the Anunnaki are shrouded in mystery. Although they are prominently mentioned in literary texts, evidence supporting the existence of a dedicated cult is scarce. This is likely due to each Anunnaki member having their own individual cult, making them distinct from one another. No complete representations of the entire Anunnaki group have been discovered, though depictions of 2 or 3 individual members together have been identified. In the eyes of the ancient Mesopotamians, their deities lived in heaven. These gods were thought to be larger than life, possessing extraordinary powers. Adorned in melam, a substance that covered them in terrifying splendor, the deities were almost always depicted wearing horned caps. These divine beings, including the Anunnaki, resided in temples, and their statues were considered physical embodiments of the gods themselves. Cult statues were meticulously cared for by a set of priests, who clothed the statues and placed feasts before them as offerings. The gods were believed to have boats and chariots used to transport their cult statues along waterways or by land during religious festivals. The major deities, including the Anunnaki, participated in the Assembly of the Gods, a divine gathering where decisions shaping the world were made. This assembly was seen as a counterpart to the semi-democratic legislative system during the Third Dynasty of Ur. And so, the Anunnaki, with their rich mythology and divine influence, held a revered place in the hearts and minds of the ancient Mesopotamians, guiding humanity's fate from the heavens above. Also, in the ancient Mesopotamian history, the earliest whispers of the term Anunnaki can be traced back to inscriptions etched during the reign of Gudea and the Third Dynasty of Ur. In these ancient texts, the term was bestowed upon the most powerful and revered deities in the Sumerian pantheon, the illustrious descendants of the sky god Ten. This esteemed group, often referred to as the 7 gods who decree, included En, Enlil, Enki, Ninkursag, Nana, Utu, and Inanna. As the threads of ancient wisdom unravel, it becomes clear that while certain deities were identified as members of the Anunnaki, a comprehensive list of their names has eluded the sands of time. In the tapestry of Sumerian texts, the Anunnaki are portrayed inconsistently, their divine nature subject to varied interpretations. Originally, these celestial beings seemed to be heavenly deities endowed with immense powers. In the poetic verses of Enki and the World Order, the Anunnaki paid homage to Enki, offering hymns of praise and choosing to dwell among the people of Sumer. The same verses assert that the Anunnaki held the power to decree the fates of humankind. Within the rich tapestry of Sumerian mythology, each major deity was associated with a specific city, considered the patron and protector of that urban realm. These deities were believed to permanently reside within the hallowed halls of their respective city temples. A text even speaks of 50 Anunnaki associated with the city of Eridu, each overseeing and safeguarding its interests. Yet, in the haunting narrative of Inanna's descent into the netherworld, only 7 Anunnaki reside within the underworld, serving as judges in the cosmic theater. Inanna, the bold goddess, faces trial before them, accused of attempting to seize control of the underworld. The judges, in their divine wisdom, find her guilty of hubris and sentence her to the shadows of death. In the celestial ballet of Sumerian cosmology, Major deities were linked to specific celestial bodies. Inanna, graceful as Venus, danced in the evening sky. Utu, radiant as the sun, cast his warm glow upon the world. Nana, serene as the moon, illuminated the night with his gentle light. And, encompassing all the stars of the equatorial sky, shared his celestial tapestry with mortals. Enlil, his celestial orbit a symmetrical circle around the north celestial pole, and Enki, intersecting within at various points, completed the divine ensemble. And so, the Anunnaki, shrouded in the mystique of ancient Mesopotamia, continued to weave their ethereal presence into the fabric of human existence, decreeing fates and guiding the destinies of gods and mortals alike. Also, in the unfolding epochs of Akkadian, Babylonian, and Assyrian civilizations, the Anunnaki continued to weave their cosmic influence through the tapestry of myth and legend. As the second millennium BC dawned, Akkadian texts echoed the Sumerian narratives, casting the Anunnaki as chthonic deities of the underworld. In a succinct Akkadian rendition of Inanna's descent into the netherworld, the queen of the underworld, Ereshkigal, is found in communion with the Anunnaki, sipping water with these celestial beings. Later in the poem, she commands her servant Namtar to summon the Anunnaki from Igalgina, adorning the threshold steps with coral and seating them on golden thrones. In the ebb and flow of mythological currents during the Old Babylonian period, a new pantheon emerged, the Igigi. The dynamics between the Anunnaki and the Igigi remain shrouded in uncertainty. Sometimes used interchangeably, the distinctions between these celestial categories became apparent in writings like the Poem of Era. In the Akkadian Atrahasis epic, the Igigi, the sixth generation of gods, found themselves laboring for the Anunnaki until a rebellion ensued. The god Enki, belonging to the Anunnaki, responded by creating humans to replace the discontented Igigi. As the river of time flowed into the Middle Babylonian period, the name Anunnaki became a general reference to underworld deities, while Igigi denoted heavenly beings. Among the Anunnaki, powerful figures such as Damkina, Nergal, and Madanu rose to prominence, standing alongside Marduk, the national god of ancient Babylon. In the pages of the Akkadian epic of Gilgamesh, Utnapishtim, the immortal survivor of the Great Flood, painted a vivid picture of the Anunnaki as seven judges of the underworld, setting the land ablaze as the storm approached. Ishtar and the Anunnaki mourned the devastation that befell humanity during the cataclysmic flood. The Babylonian Enuma Elish illuminated Marduk as the orchestrator who assigned positions to the Anunnaki. A late Babylonian version of the epic introduced a complex underworld cosmology, with 600 Anunnaki of the underworld and 300 Anunnaki of heaven. Grateful for their roles, the Anunnaki built Esagila, a splendid temple dedicated to Marduk, Ea, and Elul. However, not all tales painted the Anunnaki in benevolent light. In the 8th century BC poem of Era, they were described as the brothers of the god Nergal, harboring antagonism towards humanity. In a fragment from the Neo-Assyrian period, a text unfolded a tumultuous scene where Marduk, leading his army of Anunnaki, caused a disturbance in the sacred city of Nippur. This disturbance led to a flood, compelling the resident gods of Nippur to seek refuge. Enlil, angered by Marduk's actions, ordered the gods of Eshumsha to capture the Anunnaki. Marduk, however, orchestrated a revolt, leading to a trial where 360 gods, including Enlil, were taken as prisoners of war. The text concludes with a poignant plea from Damkina, Ninkursag, warning both gods and humanity against repeating the war between the Anunnaki and the gods of Eshumsha, a cautionary note resonating through the corridors of time. Also, in the realms of the Hurrians and Hittites, flourishing in the mid to late 2nd millennium BC, a tapestry of myth unfolded, intertwining with the tales of the Anunnaki. Long ago, in the mythologies of these ancient cultures, the eldest generation of gods found themselves banished to the underworld by their younger divine counterparts. In this subterranean realm, the goddess Lilwani reigned over these deities, a divine hierarchy identified by Hittite scribes as the Anunnaki. In the ancient Hurrian tongue, the Anunnaki were known as Kerul's Sayuns, translating to former ancient gods, or Kater Sayuns, signifying gods of the earth. Oaths and treaties among the Hittites and Hurrians were often sworn by these old gods, ensuring the solemnity of promises made. A myth wove through the ages, telling of a stone giant named Ulakami that threatened the very fabric of the divine order. Ea, known as Enki in later times, commanded the former gods to seek the weapon that once separated the heavens from the earth. In a quest that unfolded with mythical resonance, they discovered the weapon and wielded it to sever Unveilig's feet, restoring balance to the celestial realms. Though the names of the Anunnaki in Hurrian and Hittite texts exhibited variability, their number remained a steadfast 8. In a Hittite ritual, these ancient deities were invoked by names such as Aduntari the diviner, Zulki the dream interpretress, Urpisha lord of the earth, Nara, Namsura, Minki, a monkey, and Apia. Curiously, the old gods lacked a discernible cult in the Hurriyo-Hittite religion. Instead, these cultures sought to connect with them through the ritual sacrifice of a piglet, a symbolic gesture performed in a pit dug into the earth. The old gods, guardians of ancient wisdom, were often invoked for ritual purifications. This narrative of the old gods' banishment resonates with the Greek poet Hesiod's Theogony, where the overthrow of the Titans by the Olympians mirrors the Hittite account. In the Greek tale, Ouranos, the sky god whose name means heaven, fathered the Titans and drew inspiration from the Hittite version of Anu. A parallel unfolds as Ouranos is castrated by his son Cronus, mirroring the fate of Anu, who faced castration at the hands of his son Kamarbi in the Hittite narrative. The threads of myth intertwined across cultures, weaving a tapestry of cosmic struggles and divine transformations. Also, in the shadowy realms of pseudo-archaeology and conspiracy theories, a tapestry of wild speculations and fantastical tales unfolded, fueled by the imaginations of individuals who sought to unravel the mysteries of ancient civilizations. Erich von Däniken, a prominent pseudo-archaeologist, embarked on a cosmic odyssey with his 1968 book, Chariots of the Gods. In this narrative, he boldly claimed that extraterrestrial, ancient astronauts had once graced prehistoric Earth. Däniken wove a narrative where religions found their genesis in encounters with alien beings. Sumerian texts and the Old Testament were, according to him, laden with evidence supporting this extraordinary theory. Enter Zecharia Sitchin, who, in his 1976 work, The 12th Planet, painted an even more elaborate canvas. He proposed that the Anunnaki were not gods at all, but an advanced humanoid extraterrestrial species from an undiscovered planet named Nibiru. Sitchin spun a tale of their arrival on Earth some 500,000 years ago, driven by a quest for gold, a precious metal abundant on our planet. According to his narrative, the Anunnaki engaged in genetic manipulation, creating humans as a slave species through in vitro fertilization with Homo erectus. Sitchin asserted that the Anunnaki, facing the cataclysmic Great Flood triggered by melting Antarctic glaciers, temporarily left Earth's surface. They orbited the planet, rebuilding their bases upon their return, and taught humans agriculture. Sitchin's mythos expanded, asserting that the Anunnaki were the architects of monumental structures worldwide, including the pyramids. He predicted their return in his 2007 work, The End of Days, aligning it with the conclusion of the Mesoamerican long count calendar in 2012. Mainstream historians, however, dismissed Sitchin's writings as pseudo-archaeology, accusing him of distorting Sumerian texts by quoting them out of context and mistranslating words. In a separate thread of the tapestry, British conspiracy theorist David Icke, inspired by Sitchin's ideas, took a bold step into the shadows. Icke claimed that the reptilian overlords of his reptilian conspiracy theory were, in fact, the Anunnaki. Weaving a complex narrative, Icke intertwined far-right views on history, notions of an Aryan master race descended from the Anunnaki, and bizarre connections between dragons, Dracula, and draconian laws. His theory, originating in the 1990s, delved into various books, each adding layers to the speculative tale. This eclectic mix of pseudo-archaeology and conspiracy theories danced on the fringes of accepted historical understanding, leaving a trail of skepticism among mainstream historians. These narratives, whether involving ancient astronauts or reptilian overlords, captivated the imaginations of those who sought alternative explanations for the mysteries of our ancient past.